Hello wonderful people, it's Wild here. Today I'll be showing you how to build this adorable watermelon house. This fun house is surprisingly easy to create and has plenty of space for both a functional and beautiful living space. Let's get building. The materials you'll need for this build are on your screen now. Now here is the outline for the watermelon house. You can see it's 5x5 square with the corners chopped off. Now keep in mind that this is just the part of the melon that's touching the ground. It extends 2 blocks out to the left and 5 blocks out to the right. We're going to start by creating the 2 slices of melon that make up the sides, and we'll begin by creating the rind using a mixture of green concrete and green terracotta, and then I'll use some lime concrete and lime concrete powder. But I'm starting by building 5 across the base here, and I'm just changing out between the terracotta and the concrete as I go to add some texture. So I've then built out 2 and then 1 towards the left, and now we'll work on the right hand side. So here I'm going to come across 2, then up on a diagonal for 1, then 2 going upwards. Now I'll go up 5 high, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to curve back in by building up 1 and then 2, and then finish off with 1 more block. This is the shape you should create. It's a sort of semicircle crescent shape. Next I'm going to switch to the lime concrete and concrete powder to add in a lighter color green here along the rind. And once again I'm just mixing these around like this. Now I think this sort of distribution that I'm going with looks best, but if your blocks are placed in a slightly different distribution, that's alright. Right, then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to finish when I come to this edge. It should all be flush. So it should look like this. Now that we've got that, we can start adding in the red watermelon. I'm going to begin with some red terracotta. I'm going to place a block here diagonally and then 2 blocks here. I'm just using this in pieces around the edge. I'm going to fit one in on the corner here. I'm going to build up 3 high for this section, and then I'm going to come up to this lime and place 1 more here. So we've got them placed like that. Now I'm going to switch to some red concrete powder and add in some of these. Again, I'm keeping these towards the edge of the melon. It's kind of like shading but with blocks. I'm going to need to place in my red concrete here so I can add in the concrete powder, as well as here. We've got that in. And now we can start filling in with some red concrete. I'm also going to place in some of my seeds as I go. So I've got one on top of these 2 here, as well as another one here. And then I can fill in around that. I'm going to be going up in a 1 block diagonal all the way up the side of the melon. Above this seed here, I'm going to build 2 blocks of red concrete with a seed on top. And fill in the diagonal. Now I'm going to place a block on top of this concrete powder and then a seed on top of that and fill in this gap. And then I'll build 2 on top of this seed and place 1 more seed in. And I'll fill in the rest of the melon with my red concrete. So it should look like this. If your seeds are in different locations, that's alright, but I'd like to aim for say 5 seeds. Now that we've got one side built, I'm going to build the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to grab my green blocks as well and get building. If you're enjoying today's tutorial, I'd really appreciate if you consider subscribing. Your support really helps me out, and if you'd like to support me more, consider checking out my Patreon. Okay, so I've got both slices of melon done, and you can see that if you're looking from the outside, this side of the melon, the back side, is a mirror image of the one we originally created. And if I'm looking from the interior, it is exactly the same. Now, if your melon slices are not exactly the same, that's totally okay. Next, we're going to fill in these sections of the melon rind, and I'll need green terracotta and concrete for this. Once again, I'm going for a distribution of these blocks to add some texture. So I'm starting by building 5 across the bottom here. You should see this leaves the corner out on either side. Next, I'm going to build across the front of here. And then I'm going to come 3 forward in the center blocks. So 1 here, and 1 here. Now I just want to connect these 2 points. So this is how this side should look. As we rotate round to work on the right hand side, you can see that when you're looking from the front, building like this adds a little bit of curvature to the shape of the melon. Okay, now let's work on this side. Once again, I'm going to start by building across this bottom piece. Then I'm going to come forward and fill in this section. But here I'm going to bring the whole thing forward 1. So it looks like that. And you can see it sticks out 1 from this block here. Now I'm going to build up on a diagonal again. 5 across. And 1 on top of this. But I'm just going to fill in these 2 sides. Then I'll come forward and fill across 3, and then 5 across the top of that. So it should look like this up to that point. Now I'm going to place in a corner block here, and then we're going to be coming forward to fill in the center. I'm going to start by coming forward 3 with my green concrete, 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to build on top, and I'm going to build 5 across. And I'll do that 2 high. Then I'll finish off by having a 3 wide section on top of this and filling in these little corners. And I'll come over the top to complete this section. Like that. Now you can see when I'm creating these patternings, I'm kind of creating the stripes that you see on the outside of a watermelon. Alright, coming up, I'm going to build 5 across here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to fill in on top 3 across. 1, 2, 3. Now to fill in behind, I'm going to place in a block here and here. And then I'll build 5 across the top of the whole thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The back of the melon should look like this. We can have a look from above. You can see that there's an open section, and from the front it's got a nice curved back. Now before we add in the door and the roof, I'm going to come inside the build and start adding in some of the interior details. So I'm going to fill in this gap in the floor with some moss. Now you can use carpet, but I like the texture moss has. And in the center, I'm going to place in a frog light with a moss carpet on top to conceal it. Next, I'm going to start adding in some mezzanine floors. The first one is going to sit 1 back from this seed, and I'm using mangrove wood with its lovely red color. I'm going to fill this in, and I'm going to find the center, so that's here. So I'm 2 blocks in from either side, as well as 3 blocks in from either side of the wood. And I'll place a frog light in there. You'll also see I've kept this block free. I'm going to place a stair upside down by clicking in the back corner and use some trapdoors to create a ladder going up to the next story. To place these ladders, you'll need to hold shift. Okay, I'm going to come up here and put a carpet to hide this frog light. And then I want to create a railing by placing in some blocks across here and using that to place in some trapdoors. Another fun detail is that these mangrove trapdoors have circular openings, which works well for the shape of a melon. For the next mezzanine, I'm going to start behind this seed and come back just 3 blocks this time. And don't forget to fill in these slabs underneath here. That gives it a more finished look. Now I don't want to forget to add a light in the center, which I'll cover up with some more moss carpet, and then a stair to add a ladder. And once again I'll create a railing using some placeholder blocks and some mangrove trapdoors. Okay, we've got that in now, let's finish off the rest of this build. Now I'm going to add some door decorations, and don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video where I'll be showing you how I decorate the interior of this melon house. So I've come to the back side here, and I'm going to count in one from this line here to break in a spot for my door. I'm going to place it from the inside because that creates a door frame when you're looking from the exterior of the build. I'll place a mangrove stair leading up to it and melons either side. I'm going to use mangrove trapdoors around these. Create a door decoration. I'll use some fences, a melon in the center, some trapdoors, and stairs either side. Like that. The roof here is made out of glass to provide lots of light inside the melon house. I'll start by placing some green stained glass on these 2 points here and fill in the center with red. And now I'm going to go up on diagonals using the red glass, and this should be a block above where the wall sits. When you get to the top to this last bit of glass here, you'll want to switch back to some green stained glass to finish off the curve of the shape of the melon. So let's look at how we can decorate this watermelon house. I've planted it alongside some other melons in a watermelon patch, and I've kept the colours around this build to the classic watermelon colours of red, green, as well as some touches of white. I've placed a fresh watermelon stand here selling some melons that we've grown in our pumpkin patch, and you can see I've got a little winding path leading up from the docks that goes all the way round to the back of the house, and off to the side I've got a little swing set. These kind of details add a bit of life to a build, but let's head inside. And we've got 3 floors to decorate in this build, so let's see how you could divide them. On this bottom floor, I've used the large space to create a kitchen area. And this kitchen has all the features you need for survival. So underneath these flaps, we've got a loom, a stone cutter, a grinder, and an anvil. And then we've got a crafting table, a smelter, and a smoker up here, as well as lots of storage. And I really like the pattern on these banners. It looks quite a lot like melons. If I turn around, we've got some seating here at the island, and then a little dining area on the other side. And I've filled up the space with lots of knickknacks, candles, some item frames, and things on shelves. And as I go about the house, I'm going to light these candles for a wonderful ambiance. You can also see I've added this fun watermelon armor, fading from a green to a watermelon red. Okay, let's head upstairs. For the next story, I've created a living room space, and there's some storage built in. I've got more candles for ambiance, and lots of decorations. Turtle eggs make a great decoration. They've got a really cool pattern on them, and they're another block that breaks up the squareness of Minecraft with their different heights. For the wall decorations, I've stuck to reds and greens, and I've got melons, flowers, mushrooms and berries, as well as some paintings. And I've got these lovely seating here using the nether brick. It's a wonderful red colour. Also got some shelving and just filled up the whole space with some furniture. We've already got the lighting built into the floors here using these frog lights, but I suggest adding some more lighting like some lanterns and candles. You want to make the space feel nice and warm. On the top story, I've created a little bedroom here. Now this is a smaller space, so utilizing it for something like this is a great idea. You could also put an enchanting room up here. I've got my little lectern with a book, once again using item frames to decorate the walls, and I think a red bed just suits this space. Looking from outside, you get a really cool view of how this is decorated and broken into spaces that really make the most of the diagonal shape of this house. You could also use this melon house alongside some other fruit builds in a fruit village, and you can check out a tutorial for an apple and a strawberry house down below. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. If you did, please give it a like and consider subscribing. I'd love to have you as part of my community, and check out my Patreon if you'd like to support me more. I'll see you in another video.